Hi there and welcome to Early Years Weekly.
Hey, that's my line! Welcome to Early Years Weekly number 2 for this week and for weeks going forward. I'm joined by the lovely Ruby from our customer success team.
Lucky Matt.
So time to introduce the first big story of the week. The big story this week, it has to be the 66 million finally announced for the early years by the Chancellor Sajid Javid in his spending review last week. What did you think about this story, Ruby?
Obviously, it's a step in the right direction, being, anything like this coming into the news, any funding where, the nursery sector is being prioritised is good news, but we cannot ignore the fact that it's just not enough and it's a tenth of what's necessary. And are providers really going to feel that?
I think the truth is that they're probably not. As Cheryl Hadland said in Nursery World, it's probably maybe at best going to mean a 7p increase for most providers. And with inflation, minimum wage coming up in April, it's not enough. I think it's a great opportunity to get in touch with the MPs again. I know people are feeling exhausted about this topic, but at least it's on the agenda now, and it's another chance to kind of explain that 662 million figure and what's really needed to make a difference.
So next, let's talk about the government launching the kind of major review into understanding SEND support and, of course, improving it, which is absolutely necessary. So this will be hopefully helping, parents, staff. That's the aim. What did you think about?
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, particularly in combination with the 700 million that was properly announced last week in the spending review. Yeah. Seems like actually quite a good news story where they're announcing a proper review and enough money to support any kind of recommendations it has. And we can see that in, for example, the NDNA's comments where they said it's a welcome focus on an issue that's needed. Nurseries are telling them they don't have the resources, and with the number of under fives with a statement or a plan has gone up by 11.3% in the last year. So there's obviously more demand, and now hopefully we'll start to see some more support.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I would say is from, looking into it a little bit, of course it's great that it's being given, at least a level of priority, but I feel a bit kind of, although there's goals, and this is something, the funding's coming in 2020, 2021, there doesn't seem to be, guidelines, or it's not telling us where that money is going. So I'm just a little bit worried that this is going to be something with a very turbulent government at the moment as it is. Is this something that without proper initiatives and knowing where that money is being spent, is it just going to kind of fall?
Story number 3 is that the final instalment in the trilogy is out. That is the NDNA's early years workforce surveys. This time it was Wales's turn following the English and Scottish surveys that we saw over the last couple of months. It's a similar story to what we're seeing elsewhere. They're struggling to recruit level 3s, and with the 30 hours offer increasing occupancy, coming to Wales, that's increasing occupancy, and therefore also the challenges when it comes to staffing. What did you think about this? Was there anything else that kind of struck you around this story?
I mean, when I was reading about this, I was also simultaneously reading about the increase in wages for teachers, which of course is fantastic and something that
that's the 30,000 promised in 2022.
Yeah, for teachers. Obviously it's not the early years sector, but the way that kind of came in for me is I was worried that actually that's not going to help the nursery sector whatsoever, and actually that's quite an attractive proposition for these people who aren't getting paid enough in the job that they're doing at the moment.
And I think that's interesting because that's what came up in the recommendations for this survey. It's the same old problems. It's misunderstanding the value of early years in the wider kind of sector and workforce. And then it's just this squeezed sector because of the funding issues and because of everything that's going on, meaning they can't offer the salary that we know the staff deserve. They can't afford to upskill their workforce. No.
And actually that links quite nicely to we wanted to say if there is anything that you do read or share, or whether that's with friends, employees, colleagues, is the Children's Commissioner. So that was the Sir Aynsley-Green.
Yeah, he talked about with The Guardian, this really interesting piece calling for an independent national inquiry. It's pretty damning stuff really, but it's the stuff that we all already know about the problems with staff morale, staff pay, kind of understanding of the value of learning through play, and just thought it was really interesting to hear about that, and it's a great article to maybe introduce to people who don't know much about the issues going on in the sector.
It just sums it all up quite well,
yeah.
And really goes through the issues that are being faced.
Thank you for watching, and thank you for being here, Ruby.
Thank you for having me.
Going forward, it'll either be myself, Ruby, or the both of us, and if you want to see those episodes as soon as they come in, what do they have to do?
Please subscribe, and then you'll get notifications every week and you can tune in.
Fantastic, and we'll see you very soon.
See you.